Hello. Going to be covering some cool Python stuff today, which I'm really excited about. Shibay's got some interesting Python work to share. It's been a great week. Had an awesome time at SIVO. Got some great updates from Mark and the rest of the team at SIVO. Had a blast out there in Austin. Got to talk to a lot of people in the Kubernetes community and some other people in the open source community. So they had a great time. We're able to make some good connections. Great to have you all here, though. We're going to go through and talk a little bit more about Google Summer of Code as well too, updates around that. We've got some updates to our onboarding and our readmes across a few things, so we're going to go over those too. We'll kick it off here in about, maybe we'll give it maybe 2 more minutes. Can't believe this is our 5th one. We're doing great, guys. All right. Finally got some sun here, which has been great. Eating chicken, cheese, and chips. Sounds fantastic. Sounds like nachos kind of, Sean, but I like how you said chicken, cheese, and chips. I like that. Better than fish and chips? I don't know if anything's better than fish and chips. All right, let's go ahead and kill the music. Ah, hey James, what's up? Hello everyone. Hello, hello, hello. Just want to go ahead and kick us off. Start to dive into some things. Got some exciting announcements today. I already started to go over a few before everyone sort of joined into the call, but just to hit on some of those, we've got some exciting updates around our other projects. We got some new projects that are starting to emerge with the SDKs and in some new languages too, which is cool. We've got some updates around GSoC, Google Summer of Code, and then also some updates around GSoD. We're starting to look into some documentation programs with Google, so keep your eye out for that. And then also we've got some new models that we've added and just a couple other things that we're going to show you. And later I'm actually going to give a demo on how to click through into some of the functions and methods that are inside of the SDK to actually help understand how to best use the SDK itself inside of the TypeScript environment while we're lacking some docs there as we're starting to build those up inside of the READMEs. So we'll show that a little bit later after we talk about GSoD and some other things from Sophyia and Shivay. So awesome. So great to have everyone here. Just want to start off by sharing out this form. So we've got this form here that is basically we would like to see some more just kind of ideas around what you guys would like to build in the community and what you're already working on and exploring inside of the SDK, right? So we have a lot of different SDKs that you can use and a lot of different ways that it could be utilized inside different projects. So we started to collect information around like what you guys are thinking and how you guys are thinking about building inside of these environments. That way we can support you with better docs and specific endpoint examples that sort of go down that vein and help you build the product that you would like to build on top of the Copilot and on top of the more of the snippet manager side of things, or an entirely new app that maybe has some sort of functionality that we haven't thought of combining before. So as you start to do those, we're going to circulate more docs and start to set up more meetings to talk to you guys about those so we can best support you. And a great place to start is just by running through this form here that we have. And it is just a quick type form, and it'll just ask you kind of what you're thinking, what you're looking to build, and we'll reach out to you once you fill us out, and we can talk more about those things. Awesome. So just wanted to hop on that really quick. So we have a little bit of some news in terms of our review this week. Kind of going back through some of the things that have happened over the past couple weeks, but with Google Summer of Code, we actually did not get accepted, which boo is a big bummer. I'm really not that excited about it, but from what we've understood so far, the reason why we didn't get in is due to our project age. So they really like to have projects that are in the program that are about a year and a half old. And so as we are going through these next couple of weeks, I know Shivay has been reaching out and getting more information around kind of what the technical issues were with anything that we had presented. But so far, all we've gotten back has been that we just currently don't have the length of the program existence that we need in order to kind of support this demographic of projects. So Shivay, if you have any other information around this that you can share right now, I know you've kind of been emailing back and forth with some people at GSoC. So if you do, that'd be great to share it now. If you would like to.
Yeah, I think you kind of covered everything, so nothing else to share at the very moment. But yeah, the only thing, as we kind of mentioned, is we're really just looking forward to collaborating with other projects as well. And of course, like for this community, right? Even if you are, if of course, like we could not get selected as an org, but of course, since it's a very vibrant open source community, if you yourself are interested in contributing to some other project and you wish to collaborate with someone in this community as well, because open source is all about collaboration, right? It's not just about pieces or about it's all about like tech and collaboration. So we'll be more than happy to help you out in case you are stuck somewhere and you wish to get some mentorship, wish to like collaborate with someone in the community, right? It's wonderful opportunity. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, we're here to help support you guys as you find those projects that you would like to contribute to. And if there's anything that you're interested in contributing to and you're kind of on your own, you can pull us in and we can help you build more of an ecosystem around that to support you as you adventure into the summer of code as we get closer to that this year. But yeah, Shivay, great point. Yeah, absolutely. So as that kind of has come about with our application there, it's brought up Google Summer of Docs. And so there is a similar program around documentation and helping provide documentation for the community, right? Not necessarily just pieces centric, but creating documentation for the community around software and around LLMs that don't currently have a lot of things created to help support other open source contributors. So Sophia's going to hit on some of that a little later, so keep your eye out for that information. But there is also some interesting ways that we could still participate in Google's Summer of Docs, Google Summer of Code programs, not only as a mentor organization. And we also are going to be looking into potentially having one or two people be contributors as well to be able to come alongside anyone that is also participating in Google Summer of Code. And for those of you that filled out the type form last week and went through and submitted some information, you should have gotten an email that has some follow-up information to kind of talk about what maybe more you were interested in and how we can stay connected with you as we approach that and to support you in your adventure in the Google Summer of Code. Awesome. So if there are any other questions around that, feel free to drop them in the chat. We would love to answer those as the call continues. But we're going to go ahead and move on to some other updates around some new models that have been released and some of that functionality and where you can find it. So inside of the vanilla project this past week, we've spent some time adding in new functionality to use Phi2 models. So now you can use the Phi2 GPU and CPU models inside of the vanilla project. And you can see that right here from this blog that we put together, where you can actually follow along and see how you could just add just Phi2 functionality with the pieces Copilot and just start to query that. That way you could get some different reactions back from the Copilot, and you can follow along with that blog here. And there's a repo that's also attached with that blog that has all of those examples that we've been building over time, right? So each Copilot iteration with a new LLM is all living inside of there. So as we continue to add new LLMs, this is a great place to go to get an example on how you could integrate with just a single LLM. And also a way that you could build functionality to swap between them very quickly, download them, and then use them locally on device without any connection at all. So I really suggest going through that and kind of seeing how you could add some of these smaller parts of a singular language or a singular LLM or a singular like radio dial to select between the cloud LLMs, right? Like maybe you don't want to do local only, but this is a great way to see the different ways that you can use LLMs. And then, like I was saying earlier, as we continue to add more here, we will just add those directly to the readmes and to the examples. So that way you can just copy and paste them from here and use them inside of your projects. We'll start to add more, we'll start to beef these up a little bit more as time goes on. But for right now, these are just simple examples to actually use each LLM model in situations that you would like. So kind of moving past that and a little bit more into some other updates around READMEs. So I know that Sean and I had met A couple others had brought up some updates to the READMEs that needed to be made. So we actually were able to get those in since the last meetup. We've got some updates to the actual flow around getting started with the project. And then on top of that, Arindam is kind of come in and also said, hey, let's see if we can make some direct, like how to get started with this specifically and how to get started right here specifically. Sorry, that was a little vague, but I didn't want to give too specific examples, because the whole goal with these is to kind of give you more general but still specific examples on how you could build the project locally and not necessarily just consume pieces as an endpoint, but actually build one of these example projects on your machine. So there'll be more specific docs around that as well, just to make it a more straightforward process. But if you go through the README now, you'll see that you're able to follow it kind of top to bottom with more of a flow to basically go from nothing to having a functional Copilot locally on your device, and also to have a full snippet like test app inside of the example project in your browser too. So again, great ways to get started, get in, and see those building points for the next level of adding in context, downloading those models and using that context with those models, so you don't even have to ping a server, touch anything online, and can run everything locally. So really encourage you guys to go check those out, read those updates, and there will continue to be updates to that throughout the weekend as more good first issues emerge. And we're going to start to create sections around good first issues and things, so we can all get into the hot habit of trying to get updates from that page, and we'll be sure to share that out more. And here, I'll share out the open source link now just to get that in the chat for everyone. I know a lot of you guys already have this starred, but I just want to get this back out with the updates. That way you guys can check it out when you have time. Just really quickly, I'm going to take a pause here. I see we have some questions in the chat, just from Fatima and around Google Summer of Docs and Google Summer Code. We covered that a little bit, but I just want to hit it again. Yeah, we're shooting to try and participate in Google Summer of Docs. Sophyia has some much more specific information around the timelines of those things, but we have until April 4th for that application and to figure out our project and kind of the different things that we're thinking. So again, Sophyia has a ton of information about that. I don't know, Sophyia, if you want to pop up now and talk about this could be a great time to just go ahead and talk about Google Summer of Docs, if you would like. That's okay. We can wait a little bit. That's no worries. But yeah, if you just want to stick around, Fatima, we are going to talk about Google Summer of Docs. We are looking at it right now pretty actively, and we're excited about trying to participate. So we will have some updates for you there. So let's just moving a little bit forward. I just wanted to talk about some of the other project updates, kind of things that we have going on before I hand it off to oh, it looks like Sophyia actually lost her internet connection. Okay. So yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and hit some of these project updates really quick, just to kind of keep you guys in the loop, and we can share some of these things out. So one of them is James has actually officially sort of started to kick off that DeskBuddy project that we've been talking about over the past couple weeks and months. So which is super exciting. This is his own project where he's going to be exploring the activities endpoint, really getting into like how the activity endpoints. Nice, thanks Mark for sharing that. Sorry, the chat got me there. It just went boop boop. So James is working on the DeskBuddy project now, independent on his own repo, and this is really just going to be exploring the activities endpoint. So that way, you can see some of this functionality in the more recent changes that got added to the example project. I believe it was last week. But all of the activities that take place as each person, as you yourself, saves a code snippet or saves a code snippet and it attaches metadata to it that is a website, right? That website may be useful for you for research at the end of your day or when you start your next day. So just simply taking your like randomized lists of all of the links that you have ever saved and saying, hey, maybe start your day by reading this link, review this document about code that's relevant to you. Very simple one-to-one things that are, hey, as a developer, I would like to start my day with some better reading materials. How could I do that? Or I'm a new developer. I'm just learning about this language. I'm just diving into Python. What's a great place for me to start to help understand and learn Python really effectively? And so being able to do that is really, really awesome, especially as things scale as a developer. You start to kind of jump to multiple different places. So hopefully this will be a great project to help elevate that. And James will be writing and working and continuing with this throughout the next couple months. And you'll start to see these things elevate as the project moves along. So definitely check that out. Here, I'll go ahead and share a link to James's repo so you guys can keep an eye on it as it starts to grow. And yeah, as I said earlier, keep an eye out for the blogs around this because James is going to continue to write about this and share his progress as he makes them. Awesome. Sophyia, were you able to rejoin? Are you back in here? Awesome.
Hi everyone. Yeah, sorry, my network had a little issue.
No worries, no worries. We just wanted to bring you up to start to talk about GSoD. If you wanted to kind of go over what we're thinking a little bit here and kind of what some of your thoughts are, that'd be great.
Oh yeah. So unfortunately we couldn't get into GSOC this year, but we are hoping that we will be able to get into GSOD, that is Google Summer of Docs. And the idea that we had in mind was to migrate from our current um documentation platform to another one. So I would love it if we can all share our favorite doc tools in the comment or in the chats, and we can add that or like keep that in mind while we still make further plans on um this GSOD. And another thing is that GSOD has a wide um window in terms of we have a month or 2 months for us to really plan towards this. So we are really hoping that we would get in. And please, if you have any experience in participating in GSOD, either as an individual or as an organization, we would also love to learn a thing or two from you to really help us.
Yeah, absolutely. We would love any information, any additional thoughts or ideas around GSOD. Even Chrissy, I know you are a docs. I don't know how to say it, but a docs master, right? You love docs, so yeah. To be clear, Chrissy, yes, that's our goal. We are working on our application and everything right now. The application process just opened, I believe, on the 22nd. So that is our goal to participate. What our project is going to be exactly, I'm not sure. But what we're thinking about right now and leaning towards is migrating our docs to a new doc system. That way we can kind of get out of this ecosystem that we've been in with docs.page just because they don't have a ton of time to support the project and we don't necessarily want to take another project under our wing currently as we're starting to create all these SDKs and as you guys are working on all these projects, we want to spend our time working on those, not necessarily on creating a docs platform. So that's why we're considering this. But it's kind of the goal that we're thinking. But awesome, Chrissy. I'm glad that you were able to add yourself to the list. Let's get it. Cool. Sophyia, thanks so much for sharing about GSoD. I really appreciate you kind of starting to outline what that's going to look like for us, and we'll share some docs around what we're thinking over the next couple weeks so that you guys can start to take a look in Discord and we can craft this plan together.
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. So that kind of is the first half of the meet, right? So we've kind of dove into our reviews, got some events that are coming up, some ideas for things that we're going to go through with GSoD, some project plans. But one of the other things that I really wanted to take some time to show you guys today, and for all of the TypeScript developers out there, is just a really simple way that you can get into the SDK while you're writing code inside of the example project and start to see more of the background information that is connected there and can actually start to work with it. So I'm going to pull this up really quick. I need to swap repos. Go. Also, while I'm pulling this up, I just wanted to say, if anyone has any questions so far, if anyone has any other thoughts, I know you guys are all talking about docs right now, and I love these shares. These are great. Oh, these ash. Oh, yeah. Did somebody share Superbase? I thought I saw that. Yeah, Mark did. Superbase docs are fantastic. Starlight docs are fantastic. Anyways, yeah, if you guys have other questions outside of docs, now's a great time to share them. We can answer them while I'm just getting this set up really quickly. But I just want to give you guys a quick tutorial on how to like use the example TypeScript SDK project in a really effective way to like be able to extend it further. So let me pull this up. Beautiful. Okay, and I'm going to share my screen. All right, can you guys see my IntelliJ? Should be able to now. Minimize that, and we'll hit a little bit of zoom. Okay, awesome. Close these up. Great. Okay. Awesome. So one thing I wanted to show you guys, and this will be really quick, but it's something I have been showing Shivay and I've shown a few others kind of just while doing pair programming sessions, and was just unaware about how powerful this can be in understanding the actual SDK. And so I just wanted to show you guys really quickly what that looks like. So even just up here outside of everything, I just like, so let's say I was pulling in like using the assets API. Or the asset API to create a new asset. I believe it's assets API, sorry. So like, let's say this is what I was trying to do, right? And I get stuck here. I'm like, sorry, 1 second. I'm like, where do I go from here? I'm not really sure. I've got this asset snapshot. I'm not sure, right? This is just me coming in as a very new developer in the Pieces ecosystem. So if I wanted to look into something like assets create new asset, and now I'm kind of stuck. You know, I can hover here. I see an argument for request parameters was not provided, which is great. It looks like it's going to give me back Pieces asset in that promise when that request comes back out, but I'm not really sure what I need to pass over in order to get that back. Well, by holding control here and clicking into that actual asset, create new asset, you can then see the actual request parameters that you need to send over in order to get that information. So if I'm here on assets, create new asset, I'm like, oh, I need to submit an asset, create new asset request. You can then again, control or command, depending on if you're Windows or Mac, click into that, and you can see what that request actually wants. And so now here you can start to provide the proper information, right? So this is an interesting one because from the asset perspective, you're going to need to seed an asset and create it, which you guys have seen in some of the examples that we've shared out in the first blog and that we've shared out in other locations. So let me show you on something a little bit simpler that's already implemented inside of the example project. But you can see here that you can go 2 levels deep in order to find that information to see what you need to pass through. So let's go back to our app here. And instead of doing this random example that I'll add to the top, let's go down and actually look, or let's go look at the, I don't want to go into here. See, this is what happens when you go outside of what you plan to share. Okay. We're going to go back here and we're going to go into that asset snapshot because the asset snapshot is going to be a little bit easier for us to pull and we don't have to worry about passing any other information right now. Even though we do actually have that other information available here, as we do create assets from the example app. So we'll just go ahead and do new, and then we can do assets API here. And basically, when I'm using the assets API and I'm trying to get all of my assets, right? So that's essentially what I would be doing here. So if I was trying to get all of my assets and see them in a list, just so I could either iterate through them or perform some sort of action across them to display all of them, right? So if I was trying to get that asset snapshot, I'd get here and I'd be like, oh, well, I should just be able to do .then, and then I should get my information out inside of here and everything is fine. But asset snapshot is actually expecting that argument. So if I was looking into what asset snapshot needed, okay, so it's going to take in that asset snapshot request. And look at that, everything here is optional. So that's great. So that means that we can actually get that back without needing to pass over any information. So if I go back here and I go to my asset snapshot, and all I'm going to have to do is pass in an empty set of request parameters, and we're good to go. So I don't need to pass in anything here. And then it's easy to go right into your .then, get that information out. Oh, sorry, I need a variable here. I'm going to use something generic like var, or no, that's a bad idea. We'll just do anything. But this is going to be a snapshot. Sorry. So we'll just call it snapshot. And then if we were to do snapshot.iterable, this is that iterable list that you have. And I'm not running my environment right now, so sorry, I'm not actually able to print this out. But in the snapshot.iterable, this is that iterable list that has all of your assets in it that are all pieces.asset. So if I were to do console log here, and do snapshot iterable, and let's just say like we wanted the first one in our list, we could just say this, and boom, good to go. And that's how you would log out that first asset in your snapshot pretty quickly. But this is all through just like using that command click into asset snapshot or into the assets API to see all of the different methods that you can use when it comes to manipulating your assets on the assets API. So yeah, I just wanted to give you guys that really, really quick way to like click in. And I've just noticed that a lot of people don't know that this is possible. So I just wanted to show you guys that really fast. And let me know if there are any other questions. I'm going to catch up on the chat here. But yeah, no, James, this is not an extension at all. This is just base functionality that you have right out of the box when you come in here with the SDK inside of these projects. So this should also work the same way inside of the other language SDKs, but this is very, very important when it comes to the example TypeScript and the TypeScript SDK, because our docs right now, the generation isn't pushing them out. And so we don't have a lot of generated docs around our TypeScript examples. So that's why it's been our primary focus to create more examples in TypeScript, at least starting out. But you've seen how we've started to branch into Python and other locations too. But yeah, so if there are any other questions around that, or maybe more tips and tricks, we could potentially do more sessions like that where we do kind of open office hours in the future, and we just sit, work through a problem, and then come up with solutions there. So we'll start to do and talk about those more, maybe send out a poll this week to find some times that could work for others. But yeah, so there's that little example. And go ahead and stop streaming here. I'm going to bring you guys back over. Okay, awesome. So that's that. We'll try and get that clipped up as well too. And we'll see if we can get that pulled out somewhere and added to our resources, just as like a good way to show others how to get into some of the SDK logic, and that way you guys can start to explore more on your own. But yeah, okay, cool. I know Sean, we have our meeting this coming week, but we should do in office hours maybe every 2 weeks on the opposite week when we don't have our meetup, like we do an office hours on Saturday, or maybe we do it during the week as well. I'm not sure, but we'll find a good time and we'll get it called together around that to chat with everyone. All right, cool. So just kind of capping off some of that. Thanks everyone for all the information in the chat, and I appreciate it. This was very helpful for you guys. I'd love to bring Shivay up now. Oh, Shivay's already on the stage, and he's going to kind of talk about some of the new issues that we have added to the example project and some of the things that are coming there. Yeah, and then I'll be back.
Hey, thank you so much. Let me just quickly share my screen. Please do let me know 1 second. Oh, I'll have to change the system settings probably. I'll have to rejoin in that case. I hope it does not.
They got you.
I'll have
They
to
get you every
rejoin.
time.
I'll be back
Go
in a
ahead.
minute.
Okay, so do a live stream where we work on an issue on one of the repos? Pissy. Yes, that's a great idea. And I think that's kind of the idea around the office hours. Maybe it's office hours isn't the right word for it, but we could probably just do a session where we just code together. Like we can do code alongs, and we start to tackle some of those issues. So I love that. Let's keep this conversation going. Maybe we start a thread potentially following the call to find a good time inside of the open source chat, and then we can go from there to getting it scheduled and getting it set up for everyone. But I love this idea. Awesome. Shivay, back to you.
All right. Is everyone able to hear me? If you can just mention in the chat. Okay. Is everyone able to hear me? Just want to quickly confirm. Perfect. Perfect. All right. So as Jordan mentioned, right, that at this very moment we don't really have very comprehensive capability of like adding docs, but of course we do have like the Python SDK, which you can always leverage to see the docs because we have the docs generated for Kotlin, for Dart, and for Python as well. So of course, like for the TypeScript SDK, that is why we are adding a lot of like examples in our project README. And then we have come up with a list of um, good first issues for the community to participate and contribute to these particular good first issues, which kind of cover a number of different endpoints and important functionalities that you will actually find in the VS Code extension or even in the desktop app. So I'd like to just quickly go over some of these fairly quickly. And of course, like after this call ends, if anyone of you is interested in actually contributing to these particular good first issues, please do let us know. Comment in the issues that you are interested to actually contribute to these particular issues, and if you have any questions, use the chat section within the Discord. So I'll just quickly go over each one of those. The first one is, I think, something that we have implemented a number of times, including an example that I'll just quickly show you during the Streamlit demo that we'll be showing. But primarily, like being able to like switch between the different type of models. As you might be aware that we have support for both local as well as cloud models. And when you use the model snapshot API, it allows you to choose between all of them. So each and every model has a unique UUID that is unique to your system. And you'll be able to then choose between the different models based on the model snapshot. So adding like that capability where you have an iterable list of a number of models to choose from, and then using like the pieces Copilot component, you can choose which particular LLM you want. Then we have this pieces login and logout capability. Now, if you have been using, let's say, our VS Code plugin extension, there is ability to sign in and sign out of your pieces Copilot account. So as soon as you click on sign in, it actually takes you to the pieces website where you can sign in, and then you can go back and you're all like you're signed into the pieces cloud. Now, why this particular issue is important is the next one. So if I'm not sure if everyone is aware, we have the functionality to generate shareable links. So this is through Pieces Cloud, that if you're logged in as a user, you can generate a unique link and you can share it with anyone, right? So generally how we do it is that when you're logged in as a user, we create an asset for that particular snippet, and then we use the Linkify API that actually helps you to generate that shareable link. So I've just shared like a small starter code that should help you to get started. Just understand that what are the different components that the Linkify API is basically going to take, which basically is the asset and some of the distributions. So just some starter code for you to understand what specific needs are there for the endpoint, right? So you can use this particular endpoint like the Linkify API to generate that shareable link. Then we have like a good first issue for like filtering the existing snippets by language. So it's not really like the collections API, but primarily just being able to just sort your snippets based on the language that they are in, right? So that's another issue that we have come up with. And then, of course, we have some additional issues with, for example, if you want to see some additional information about that snippet, such as like, what are the related tags, related websites, because for every single snippet, whenever you like generate an asset, you have a number of like metadata. Of course, the code, main like code or the content that is there inside the snippet, you also get a lot of like attached goods, right? For example, like if you're using the pieces over here, you can see that we generate like the related links and some description, like a summary of that particular snippet. So being able to showcase those additional information as well alongside the main snippet content itself. And then we have like another endpoint where we want to like, let's say, update or modify the tags or the relevant links we have like the specific endpoints for being able to do so. First, you will basically go ahead and update that particular tag, or if you're creating a new tag or a related website link, you'll do that, and then you'll use like the asset API associate tag or the associate website if you want to associate like a new tag, a related tag, or a new website with an existing asset. And then we have the another endpoint that is created to basically copy your snippet with your contextual information that you get from pieces OS. And finally, like we have added one where you can implement like a feature to add like sensitive information to your snippets, because that's something that's allowed. So these are the list of the first set of good first issues, but of course these are not just the one, like we are not just like limited to these. But yeah, I mean, if you wish to contribute, go ahead and comment, take a look. If you have any doubts, let us know. Our team will be able to help you. So yeah, Jordan, if you want to share anything in as well, in addition, I think you're speaking on mute.
Sorry, somehow my other microphone, it muted itself physically. But yeah, so we are going to continue to upgrade and add more issues like this to this location, right? But these are just a really, really good way to get familiar with something that you're kind of unfamiliar with in terms of the SDKs. As each of these gets created, and as we create examples of these, they're actually what's going to be used as the examples that are in the READMEs themselves that others are going to come and reference. So it's very helpful and important as contributors in this environment that you guys are familiar with these, and as you create them, you actually are going to have pieces and parts of this README that's going to exist on for a long time and serve as documentation for other open source users that are going to come in and start understanding how to build on top of this SDK to create their own product. And it kind of jumps into a little bit around of what Jumping is saying in the chat, and exactly how this is open source is not necessarily that our core of Pieces itself, Pieces OS is open source, right? But the SDK itself is. And as we continue to grow the SDK and find new use cases for it, where we're not necessarily using the same set of endpoints, right? Like, let's say we want to combine two endpoints to perform a singular action much faster instead of having to make two endpoint calls for something that we do repetitively. Well, we can add that to the SDK ourselves and create additional functionality that is beyond what is currently available in the SDK, which would help give some additional functionality to support Pieces OS. That's one way that we could potentially view the client itself as more of an open source project that we're actually contributing to and adding functionality to. And then as those products get built, those will turn into open source products that other users will use and we will support in the community, while Mark and the internal team is maintaining and creating functionality around Pieces OS that that bubbles up to the surface and then becomes available to you on your side for your applications. But I hope that makes a little bit more sense. And like Mark's saying, he's willing to hop on a call and talk with you more about it. He is the true expert in Pieces OS, everything Pieces OS, but can explain a little bit more about how that ecosystem is going to function and how it's going to go over, not just now, but over time.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. And Shivay, I know, so kind of jumping from there to our little bit of the next section, but is a little bit around sort of what it looks like to actually build an open source product on top of this. So this is a great time jumping that you're here. And so Shivay wants to kind of go into a quick project that he put together on top of Streamlit with the Python SDK. So Shivay?
Yeah. So I mean, I love to kind of juggle between JavaScript and Python. Now, of course, a lot of folks were already actively contributing to the Python, to the JavaScript SDK, and like building, extensions and then Copilots on top. So I just wanted to build something and put it out quickly together, and it's been great. Python is a great language, and I'll just quickly share my screen as well behind like the inspiration for this particular project. Again, I'll not bore everyone with a lot of details, but I'll just quickly share like my thought process. So, Streamlit is a really great open source framework that allows you to build machine learning or data science related like front end applications. Because like typically, a lot of times you're writing a lot of like data science code in the Python notebooks, but you cannot really productionize it. So, Streamlit actually allows you to create very simple, machine learning stuff. So just focus yourself on like the machine learning part, and it provides you a lot of like UI components, open source UI components that easily allows you to put it together and create like web apps within minutes, as the website says. So it's completely open source, and they have like a dedicated section for creating like generative AI LLM based chat applications. So that's what I essentially used, because they provide you that UI library. You can just insert any LLM that you want and create like a very simple to use chat application. So I'll just quickly go over the code over here. So in this case, like what I'm using is the pieces pieces OS client, that is our Python SDK, and we have seen a lot of like folks actually downloading and trying it out. So that's really great. Now, of course, at this very moment, I'll first quickly show you how the application works. So over here, what you'll see is in the command I'm using Streamlit run pieces bot.py. So Streamlit provides its own, command to actually run and start the application. So as soon as I start it, it is now loading this particular application. And of course, all of the chat that you see, chat UI is being handled by Streamlit itself. So that's a really great thing. I didn't have to spend a lot of time to actually come up with the UI. I could just focus on the functionality. That is how I was able to build this fairly quickly. So, for example, the current functionality into this project is that, of course, you have the capability to chat with the pieces, and you can also choose between different type of models. So, for example, right now I'm in a chat with the GPT 3.5 model, so I can quickly ask it write a Python program to calculate sum of two numbers, just keeping it simple.
Hey Shivay, we can't see your the window you're actually doing this in. We can only see Discord.
Oh, I'm so sorry. So you could not see anything? That is
No,
like
we
really.
thought you were doing the like preface, like talking before, and
Okay,
then as soon as you started to actually show the demo, it was like, oh wow, he's oops.
my bad.
You're good. If
Like
you just
live.
want to start, if you just want to start back, just a minute before you started actually showing your demo on the Streamlit page. But yeah, you want to probably show some of this as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, my bad. I didn't realize that. So yeah, I was just quickly talking about like Streamlit. So it's an open source framework that allows you to create applications with the help of with. So it's really just meant for like data science applications, and it provides you a lot of like UI components. I love using Streamlit. So of course, if you are a even if you're a software engineer, you just have a quick machine learning model that you've built, and you want to have like a UI for it. Streamlit is like the way to go, and you don't have to write any JavaScript or HTML, CSS. It just provides those components built in. So that's a great thing. Like you can stay in the Python ecosystem, like with, and not have to worry about like having a good UI. So I was talking about this, that Streamlit also comes up with a lot of like inbuilt UI components for building like chat like applications. So whether you're using like any LLM or with pieces as well in this case. So I'll go over the code base in just a while, but I'll just first show you the entire functionality of how the project works or how the project runs. So I just ran the command streamlit run pieces bot.py, and now I'm just waiting for it to load. So this is the UI as it kind of renders. And of course, like again, remember that all of the UI components are something that Streamlit provides out of the box. So there's not really a lot of time you have to spend on perfecting the UI. Like this is something that comes out of the box. So it's really great. I didn't have to spend much time on deciding the UI. So here you can see that we have a very simple interface at the moment. We're just communicating and using the stream QGPD stream to ask a question and get a response. And then we have like a separate section where you can choose between the different type of models using the model snapshot API. So first I'll just go ahead and ask it a question, write a Python program to add two numbers, just to keep it very simple. And we'll just wait for it to give us the response. So it's getting the response over here. As you can see that this is the response that you get, and it basically adds these two numbers, and it gives you a response. Now I can ask it a further question, or of course I can choose between the different type of models. So for example, if I choose Gemini model, I can ask it who built you, and the same UI, and hopefully should give me that it was built by Google, because I changed the model from GPT 3.5 to the Gemini model. So as it says, I'm a large language model trained by Google. So of course, what we're really doing over here is at this very moment, it's a very simple implementation. But behind the scenes, what's happening is that whenever I send a question, there is this array that's being maintained by Streamlit chat where I push it, and whenever I generate a response as well that comes from pieces, that's also getting pushed to this array being maintained by Streamlit that is now pushing it into the chat. So I'm not really like having a persistent chat like capability at this very moment. It's simply just asking the pieces copilot for a question and getting that response. I can quickly go into the code as well. So initially we have this imported Streamlit and of course the Python's OS client. That's the main PyPy project, so you can use that. And of course, we've seen a lot of like people actually using it. We have seen a lot of installs on PyPy for the pieces OS client. Now, the next thing that I've done is I've basically just gone ahead and defined my WebSocket functions to start and send requests to establish the WebSocket connection. And over here, we have just set the basic configuration to apply to basically connect with the actual localhost 1000. That's where the pieces OS is running, so that we can connect and interact with the pieces OS client. I'll come back to this particular section, and a big shout out to Bishoy, who I'll be like just speaking about him as well. He's a contributor, so I'll be just talking about him. But this particular code is actually using the model snapshots API, which I also showed you in the example TS project, for which we have created right now a new issue, where you see that by using the model snapshot API, we're getting a response of like an iterable list of all the types of different models that we have. So over here, that is why we are just running the models.cloud. So this is what lists all the cloud-based models that Pieces OS supports. And then the default one that we have kept is the GPT 3.5. And then of course we have a drop-down list through which you can choose between the different type of models that you have. Now, over here we have the main function, which is basically as soon as you send any question, uh, over here you'll see that we have this function over here where we are asking it ask function, where we are actually sending in our query, right? So inside of our Streamlit message, like whatever query that you send, it's being sent to this ask question, and this ask question sends the query as the request in the request body. Like we are sending the model ID and the query that we're passing, and this ask question is inside of our WebSocket, where now basically what we are essentially doing is that once we start the thread, um, we pass on the relevant information to our QGPT endpoint that's using the stream, right? So to the stream, we'll send this particular message where we are sending the query, like our query, if there's any relevance that you have sent to it, and of course the model ID. So this is the message that we'll send, and once we get the response back, then what we are going ahead and doing is that we are basically storing that particular message over here, which you see that self.final answer is where we are getting our answer from the copilot, and then we are just using the st.markdown. So this is like a Streamlit where it allows you to format your answer in markdown, and then we just go ahead and actually store it inside of our messages, right? So you see that everywhere in our Streamlit bot, we are basically storing the response or the query that you're sending, and we are appending it simply. So that is how we are able to get this persistent chat like feature. This is not really a feature that we have implemented on our own, but it's like by Streamlit, where every query that you send and every response that you get from pieces, we're just pushing it to this chat, and we're continuously like appending it. So again, a very simple example to show you how you can leverage the endpoints that are provided by the pieces Python client as well. And of course, it's just the beginning, and we'll add a lot more capabilities, and I'll be like sharing more. The idea really is to build in public, So as I also try out new endpoints from our Python SDK, I'll make sure to share it across in the in the entire community as well. And we have it open source. So if you're actually interested to contribute to this particular project, it's open source right now. And in fact, like, I've opened a couple of issues as well. I'll make sure to share this across. And we actually already received one of the contributions from Bishoy. So huge shout out to him as well, who helped with some of the implementation of the model snapshots. And he actually also contributed to the CLI agent as well. So I'm not sure, like, if Bishoy can jump on to this call and just share his experience probably for a minute or two using the endpoints. But yeah, this is a quick demo of our pieces bot, simple Copilot bot that I built with Streamlit, like, in a few hours, just as a like side project, just to kind of see and start using the Python SDK. But this should, like, give you enough like, just getting started to build your own projects. Of course, it's not like limited to Copilot. You can build a task manager, like a task bot, or probably like a to-do list as well, where like every asset like is a to-do list. So yeah, I mean, the possibilities are endless. This is just to show the community that how we can leverage our SDKs and build open source projects as well. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thanks for sharing, Shivay. Thanks for working on this project. It's a great example of getting started with Streamlit, and just really great, really great. We love to see more examples in specific environments, right? So anyone out there that has a crazy environment that they work in, or some super unique tool that they love, if there's easy ways to build small projects around those, it's a good example for others in the community to see what they can do, and also for us to be more aware of the places where pieces make sense in that ecosystem and help build things around that. So really great job, Shivay. Really excited about that. And just to touch on the to-do app there at the end, this is a project that was brought up earlier, or at the end of the week, and I think this would be a really great project for us to start to kick off this coming week, around building more to-do apps in some specific languages and some specific using some specific SDKs. So it's definitely something we're looking into and going to start to queue up, because they're great examples, right? Everyone understands a to-do app, everyone knows how they function, and we can show some of the other things you can do with SDK functionality inside of the client through a to-do app like that. So it'll be really cool. And definitely get any ideas that you guys have when Shivay's sharing like this, or when we're talking in the chat, onto our discussions board. I know Sophia's going to be doing some work around the discussions board, getting it a little bit more cleaned up. That way we can start to really craft these ideas we have from these calls and from chats, and we can get them moving into actual projects that you guys can be a part of each week as we, or every 2 weeks as we meet up. So yeah, awesome. So we're getting closer towards the end of our call, but before we kind of cap everything off and kind of end our hour, we wanted to introduce one of our new DevRel and one of our new team members, Arindam, who we've all seen around the environment. Sorry, I keep saying environment today. I'm not sure why. As we've seen around Discord, we've seen around GitHub. He's been all over the place. A wonderful person. Arindam, just wanted to give you a second to introduce yourself to the community, say hello, and just to talk a little bit about your search endpoint addition that you just added to the project. Can you guys hear him? Yeah, I can't hear you, Arindam. Are you able to get your mic working?
Yeah, am I audible now? Awesome. So, hello everyone. I am Arindam, a Manstack developer from India, and I recently joined Pieces as a dev. And yeah, I've been contributing to the example TypeScript project and working on some endpoints and working very closely with Jordan. And yeah, it's been a great journey. And yeah, recently I implemented the search function to the example TS project, and with that you can just search on any snippet that you have saved based on the name. Yeah, that's the functionality I've been working on, and yeah, that's it.
Nice. Sorry, I was muted now. Oh, James, were you not able to hear him? I hope he was. I think others were able to. I'm not sure if James' connection was messed up. But yeah, awesome. Anyways, so yes, Arindam added in the new search functionality, so you can search based on the title. And Arindam will connect too on how to add in the other types of search as well. I know you probably saw them as you were going through there, but starting to use some of the other search types so that we can search based on the code content and other things like that. And then also to get these. Oh, interesting. Perspective couldn't hear either. I'm not sure what's going on with the sound, but we're getting closer to the end here. Oh, okay, cool. Sorry. Yeah, so we're going to get the new search examples added, and there'll be some new examples on how to use those other search types from Arindam, and we'll connect on that. But just wanted to introduce Arindam to everyone here and to the team, and just a great new contribution and a great new addition to the team here at Pieces in our DevRel and in our open source community. So as you guys are out there, as you see him popping into Discord and things, feel free to ask him any questions that you may have. And as we're continuing to get him more spun up and become an even more of an expert in the SDK, as you guys have seen from some of his other PRs and issues in the past. So feel free to ask him any questions and reach out to him if you need things. But
Yeah, because like the search endpoint is a really great example again, because again, when you explore the search endpoint, like there are different types of searches that are implemented, like full text search, neural search. So again, like experiment and like just ask questions, right? That's what we really want the community to do and like explore the endpoints. Yeah, so great work on that, Arindam.
Yeah. And don't forget to use that. Don't forget to use that control and command click as you're exploring. It will help you so much. It is my favorite functionality inside of my IDE. Command click. Worth it. All right. There's no other huge updates to kind of cap off with today. We have Mason's a little under the weather right now, so please just wish Mason some good health, that he's feeling better. But yeah, I believe he's still in the call recording right now, so Mason, feel better, man. And yeah, we're potentially looking into some new Twitter spaces, so keep an eye out for some new sort of events for you guys to jump in and join and be a part of on Twitter. And also keep an eye out for any of the news that's coming out from Civo Navigate. So we're going to have some updates coming on how that went and some of the things that took place there. And one of the repos I do want to share that is another location just for more casual updates that we share out from Pieces is just our news site. You can go to news.pieces.app. Oh, that's not a URL. Sorry, everyone. Let me make this a URL for you. So there we share a lot of like company updates, things that are going on around, the events that we've gone to, all that. So feel free to take a peek. Also an open source project. So all of our docs are open source, and we're looking to, like we said earlier with GSoD, potentially move providers. But also we're always looking to upgrade our docs. So if you see a typo, if you see a link that's not right, if you think something's not explained properly, feel free to reach out to us, open an issue, and let's make sure that it's to the top tier, and we can make sure that everyone's able to understand individual parts of the whole ecosystem. I said it again. But yeah, that's it. If there's nothing else from anyone else here, Mason, feel better. Everyone have a great Saturday. And that'll be the end of our 5th and another wonderful open source meetup on Saturday, guys. I hope everyone has a great day. And yeah, any questions, any follow-ups, anything else that people need today as you're coding, reach out in Discord, reach out to myself or anyone else on the team, to Arindam, one of our new team members, and we will see you in 2 weeks. You guys have a good one. Yeah, everyone have a great ecosystem in Jordan speak. Bye. Thanks everyone for being here as well. Have a good day. See you, Sean. See you, Arindam. See ya, Mark. See ya, Sophyia. Perspective. Thanks for being here. Rohit. Have a good day.